Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week because we're taking a look at the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. Let's check them out. All right, folks, in addition to the new knives that we're about to take a look at, I should mention that this weekend is the Blade Show, where we're going to see more new knives. As you're watching this, actually, the crew and myself, we're actually on our way down to Atlanta to check out the Blade Show. We'll be in a van when this video posts, and we'll probably be sick of each other by that time because we're getting close to Atlanta. But make sure to keep your eyes peeled on the channel here. We're going to have a lot of cool videos over the next several days, sharing the cool stuff with you folks too. So, subscribe if you like. And on that note, the first knife today is pretty much everyone's favorite budget pocket knife from last year, a new KnifeCenter exclusive version of the CJRB Pyrite. This is a little different from our titanium bolstered Pyrite, which we do still have more variants of those in the works. But this one is a little bit more affordable than those. It sits at the same base price of the standard knife, which is $49.95. This is a $50 knife, and it's always given you way more than $50 has any right to get you in terms of features, fit and finish, fidget friendliness, all of that, just the satisfaction of the action it gives you. But this one gives you a little bit more even than the standard versions. It does have the stainless steel handle, but rather than a stone washed finish, we've got an engraved wave pattern on the front. It's not a super deep engraving, but it gives you a little bit of visual something, a little bit extra, and it even gives you a hint of texture. It's not like super deep ridges that's gonna lock in your grip, but it does give you a little bit of traction right there. A few percentage points, I would say. On top of that, it looks great with the black blade, black screws, and black deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible. The only thing not blacked out from the front side there would be, hardware-wise, would be that button lock. But speaking of that button lock, it's oh so smooth and delicious. Free floating, it'll drop shut when you want it to. It'll lock up hard when you need it to. The blade, of course, is a perfect everyday carry shape. Prioritization of slicing performance here, not a big heavy bruiser. That's not what this average sized pocket knife is aiming to be. 3-inch or just over 3-inch drop point blade, high flat grind, great little cutter, and RPM 9 steel. So this is a $50 powder metallurgy blade. That's pretty cool too. Check them out right now. Like I said, just under 50 bucks only at the Knife Center. Next, we have the Microtech Anax. Very cool knife here. This is part of their imported line made by Reich. And I mean, come on, look at this thing. It has got such a distinctive profile. Big wide blade in a narrow handle, but despite those proportions, there's still plenty of handle there to hold on to. It's not a shrimpy handle. Don't let the photos fool you there. Price on this, $551. We've got an M390 blade, 3.7 inches long. Very aggressive, very unique. I hate qualifying the word unique. It's either unique or it isn't. Very cool, very distinctive Tonto shape profile here. Crowned spine here in front of the jimping, even a crowned spine here on the clipped portion of the blade, and then big, broad milled sections. You might want to call that a fuller, even though technically it's probably something different due to the shape of it, I'd say. But that serves visual and functional purposes, which we'll get to that function there in a bit. Handles are titanium and they are integral. The handle is titanium. I can't say handles, it's a single piece. So there you go. You can see it from the back there. The spine wraps around, or the material wraps around the spine essentially. The other cool thing you can get, or that they chose to get with this integral handle, in addition to the strength that imbues the knife, they've also gone with a bit of shape from the side too. These aren't, flat handle scales. You can see some contouring going on. Pretty cool. Flipping the knife around, you can see we've got an over travel plate here, over travel disc for the frame lock. We've got a milled pocket clip with a ball bearing for the pinch point, and this little socketed section at the back, and that's designed to fit either one of these two little guys. You have either the spiky tail or the round tail sticking out of the back there if you wish. Don't have to, of course. You could certainly leave those off if you'd rather not have them. Now, talking about the function of those fullers there, that's where, or one of the ways the one-hand opening comes in to play for this knife. First off, you can use your thumb very easily. Walk up the blade as you go to open it. Very nice. You can also reverse flick with it. You can, even though I just failed. No problems there. You can do that, and then this knife also comes with the other thing that I'm oh so good at all the time, a front flipper. I haven't even tried this before camera rolled, so this is actually high stakes here. Oh, I'm nervous.
No cheating.
See, I just slipped off the side. It's terrible. I'm the worst.
Just because
okay, I am the worst. Just because I can't doesn't mean it can't. I'm really embarrassed.
Sorry, Tony.
Once you try it, you probably will be in B-roll and you'll get it perfectly.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right here. I hope you just failed.
I don't know yet.
It's a cool knife. You can front flick it open, even though I'm a klutz. I'll live with it. I'll just have to live with it, basically. Very nicely made. Check them out now. Next up, we have a Para 3 lightweight. This is technically a distributor exclusive, and we were able to secure a batch of them, of course. And basically the meaning of that is once these are gone, they may come back at some point, but it's probably gonna be a while. So if you're interested, I wouldn't wait too long. Para 3 lightweight, teal handles, S90V blade steel. Already that's a great combination. You've got lightweight and insane edge retention. The price is just under 140 bucks too. That price is, of course, a little bit more, about $25 more than the least expensive Para 3 lightweight with a BD1N blade steel. But you've got a huge, huge leap in edge retention between those two. And this is actually 10 bucks cheaper, 10 bucks less expensive than the least expensive powder metal Para 3 lightweight, which would be the Spy 27 versions. Come on, people, that is a bargain by any stretch of the imagination. The knife is quite lightweight, 2.4 ounces, which is gonna be virtually unnoticeable in the pocket. You've got a wire pocket clip, mostly deep carry to keep things mostly tucked away and invisible in the pocket. You do, of course, have a bit of that light teal, bright teal color going on there. So it's not exactly perfectly stealth, if that's the sort of thing you're going for, but it's also not something that's gonna scream knife, I think, especially with this color. So if that's important to you, that is a good thing. That pocket clip is reversible too. The opening of the knife is fully usable with either hand, thanks to the ambidextrous thumb hole there. And then the compression lock is definitely right hand biased, can be used with the left hand. It's kind of awkward for me to do it, but I am a righty. I know some left-handers have not too much trouble with the right hand compression lock. But this is such a good price for this knife. I can't get over that amount of edge retention for the money for sure. Blade is just under 3 inches. The lock is finger safe, which means you can just keep your fingers out of the path of the blade when you're closing it. Full flat grind for decent slicing, a little bit thicker on the stock here at the top to keep things plenty tough. Certainly strong enough for your everyday carry uses that you would want a 2.4 ounce knife to be able to handle. Check them out. Next up, we have another brightly colored knife handle, the Ontario Rat 1 in S35 VN, the red rat, much anticipated from SHOT Show earlier this year, is now available. Price on it is just under 100 bucks, and they've taken the solid blue collar hardworking bones of the rat series and just spec'd up the blade steel, going from either AUS 8 or D2 for the standard models, which runs from like 30 to 60 bucks in most cases, for a lot more performance with the particle steel right here. Same great blade shape though, drop point that's gonna do pretty much anything you could ask for it, whether in an everyday carry or outdoor, or even sometimes even a tactical scenario, quite honestly. Full flat grind, not too thick, but thick enough for strength, going to slice great, and the shape works for just about everything, like I said. These are still made in Taiwan, just like the originals as well, and honestly, it's got the same solid feel as the original. Full length liners, not skeletonized, so it's not a lightweight knife, but it does impart this feeling of solidity that is kind of hard to find in some folders out there these days. And plenty of handle length too. 4-position pocket clip to suit any preference there. Liner lock, washers in the pivot so you don't have to worry about dirt as much as you would with ball bearings. But still, you've got great action, dual thumb studs, red G10 with a bit of texture. I should say that the only other G10 versions of this knife out there right now are are they assisted or automatic? The assisted opening versions. The orange G10. Thomas is looking at me like,
you're the knife guy.
Most of them, of course, come with the injection molded handle scales. So that is an upgrade over most of the versions out there as well. But I love this thing. The color is great. I love seeing the upgraded blade steel here. This is on the verge of becoming a classic, quite honestly, the Rat one. It's something that I don't think is gonna die for quite a long time, just because the amount that this knife just works without breaking a sweat, without apologizing, it's hard to beat, truly. How about a couple more Ontarios? We've got some MagnaCut Ontarios, some fixed blades, the SPL series. We've got the SPL pack knife is the first one, just about 125 bucks for this 4-inch MagnaCut blade. That's pretty cool right there, actually. Speaking of bargains, these days, that type of steel, that kind of size, I don't think you can beat that right now. Still US made. SPL stands for Sport Leisure Series, and this pack knife is designed to be just your general purpose outdoor knife. You want to use it for hunting? Go use it for hunting. Want to use it at camp? You can go use it at camp. You want to take it hiking? You'll be able to do that too. With the sheath, it's about 5 ounces. Well, I think with the sheath, it's about 5 ounces. Let's find out, shall we? Here is the sheath. It is injection molded. It clicks in. You've got 2 different belt loop sections right here. Fit probably most belts. Some, maybe thicker or wider gun belts might be a little too thick for that sort of thing. It's not too bad. Keeps the profile nice and low though. Let's check out the weight. Right here, live on camera. 7 ounces with the sheath. Not too bad. It's not more a lightweight, but you got a lot more durability probably with this knife versus some Moras. But let's talk about the sheath. You do have a button there for the to disengage the retention point. You don't actually have to use that though. Much like Kydex, if you press on here with your thumb and just push out, it will also pop open. And you can see you've got that spring-loaded latch right there that interfaces with this little divot in the handle scale itself, which is orange G10. The G10 is kept fairly slim, but still feels pretty good in the hand. If you wanted something a bit beefier, a bit broader, or a bit more hand fillings, wait for the next knife. We got something to show you there. This is not shrimpy though, just kind of like that Anax earlier. It's not lacking, it's just not necessarily as thick as some might like if you're doing a lot of wood carving like this. But for more intricate holds, more deft type of cuts, especially I think in a hunting type of use, the agility of that knife is pretty great. About an 1/8 inch thick, full flat grind there. Slicing geometry is great. You've got the strength of the full tang. You've got a useful sheath as well. 125 bucks for a MagnaCut 4-inch blade made in the US. Pretty good deal. And for about $25 more, you could get the SPL dive knife. About a 4 1/4 inch blade, a little bit bigger, and of course blunt tipped for the dive uses if you need to pry with this sort of thing. Plain edged most of the way, little hint of serrations here right at the heel. More to the handles on this one. You can see both in terms of their girth, the dive knife is thicker, and in terms of that way, whatever that word is, a little bit more. And it definitely is noticeable in the hand. It feels really, really good. Sheath is the same setup as before. And MagnaCut, I think, is a really cool choice for a dive knife. It's plenty tough and you have plenty of edge retention, and it should be virtually stain proof as well. Great choice right there. Again, about 1/8 inch thick. Not gonna be as much of a slicer, but again, this is a more purpose-built thing, the dive stuff in mind though. And it's so cool to see Ontario pushing themselves a bit with these higher performance steels, which, not that they haven't done that sort of thing before, but they're not necessarily known for pushing the materials in quite the same way, so I love it. Love it, love it. So you wanted something a little more hand-filling for a general purpose knife? New Becker, I always love when I get to say that. The BK19, and it's a new Nesmuk, and I always really love when I get to say that. There's one more Nesmuk in the world now. Here you go, 119 bucks for this BK19. You've got a 4 3/8 of an inch long blade or thereabouts, full flat grind, blade thickness about 5/32 of an inch, maybe a skosh more when you take the coating into account. So slicing is going to be okay, even though it's slightly thicker blade. You've got such an amount of height to this profile that the actual geometry behind the edge is still going to be nice and keen. Great slicing profile with this continuous belly, great hunting profile as is classical for the Nesmuk pattern. But then of course, it's a little bit pokier, a little bit stabbier perhaps than most traditional Nesmuks tend to be, I would say. Which, being as it came from the mind of Ethan Becker, the whiz of tactical survival knife styling, makes a little bit of sense that it would be a little bit pokier right there. Married up to that blade, which is 1095 Crovan, I should say, are the classic Becker mid-sized handles, the tweeners, if you will. Comes in just this one tan color at the moment. Very nice shape to these scales. They fit most folks with like medium and bigger hands especially, maybe super big hands, not quite as much, but just fit the hand so nicely. Enough texture there. You know, they're not super slippery. They don't have traction per se, but the shape of the knife shape of the handle really does go a long way to keeping it secure. I should talk about the sheath now, which is the same style as the BK18, which debuted, I guess, 2 years ago now, something like that, 2.5 maybe. Nice wide platform here, injection molded. You can reverse the belt hardware around to either side, so lefties or righties will be able to use this no problem. And then of course you could also, with the slots here, rig up other types of aftermarket support if you wanted a different carry method. But the click in is nice. You've got a retention strap for a little bit of extra security right there. And then the thing that Ethan likes to do with his versions or his personal carries of these sheaths, this is kind of a broad rectangle. It makes a great platform for strapping or lashing other survival gear to it. You can make yourself a whole system, which is also pretty cool. All right, next up, we've got a bigger knife. This is the Joker Nomad. 6 3/4 inch N695 blade. Starting, the black canvas version starts at about 137. It's a lot of knife for the money. This one right here with the wood handles about 144. Still a good deal. You've got kind of almost a butcher knife styled blade to it. Make a great survival knife or big, truly big hunting knife. This is bigger than most hunters probably tend to carry, but for butchery-er tasks it could work. And it's just an all-around big camp knife. Awesome. Thickness-wise, we're about 0.2 inches thick right here. Plenty of strength. The grind kind of backs that up too. We've got a flat grind, but the edge itself is convexed for strength. So a great edge shape for actually abusing the knife. Axes are ground this way, essentially. Batoning with this, no problem. Chopping with this, the edge geometry could take it, but it's not really a choppy design too much. You could certainly choke back with this lanyard a little bit, get a little extra grip. Do something right there. Get a little bit more going on for yourself. Get a little more leverage, but it's not going to be a choppy knife if you're looking for a choppy knife first and foremost. But there's an agility to it. It's pretty well balanced. It's a little bit blade heavy, but not too much. Very manageable for the small stuff too, which in my mind makes this a great contender for like a 1-2 option survival knife. If you're going to carry something on your hip that's not going to weigh you down, that you're not going to, dread having to carry, this is going to give you a lot of capability. The handle's a great shape too. Fills the hand quite nicely. Great swell there. We've got a protruding pommel at the back that you can use for bashing, and it's crisp enough to strike a fire steel as well. In fact, the spine might not be crisp enough, but back here on the edge of that pommel will be. The sheath is also really cool, and it looks good just from the outside, very high quality leather, but the party trick for it is there's actually a small plastic piece on the inside. It's only about this big, it's placed right about here, and it's essentially a set of guides that as you're sticking the knife in the sheath, you can kind of hear it hitting right there. It'll guide the blade towards the center of the sheath, so you're not going to accidentally, hopefully, lance through the side when you go to resheathe the knife. That's a pretty cool feature, and it's not something I've actually seen before. Might be hard to get a shot of it without shining a flashlight down there, but I like that. That is really, really cool indeed. Next up, we have one of my designs in stock at the moment. This is the Nordsmith Lapwing. It is a small, kind of bird and trout styled knife that I think works great for food prep, which is mostly what I have used it for traditionally in terms of my camping uses, but also works great as an everyday carry, as a hunting knife, whether small game or something as big as deer even. No problem with this knife at all. 3¼ inches of edge right there, CPM 154 on this batch, 3/32 of an inch thick, with a convex grind and secondary edge. I mean, this is a little scalpel, but it's tough enough to handle a little bit of abuse with that steel selection right there. It's not a sharpened pry bar. It's not something you're going to be able to twist and thrash and bend to an inch of its life, or an inch of your life perhaps, but it's going to withstand most things, no problem. These are made in conjunction with LT Wright and myself. Price on these are about 220 bucks, made in the USA by hand, just like all of their stuff. You've got a crisp spine for striking a fire steel. You've got a neutrally shaped handle so that even if you've got really big hands, you'll be able to use it no problem. The handle orients the blade downwards a little bit so you can engage all of this belly of the blade on a cutting board if you wish. It also just points that tip really naturally if you're just opening boxes day to day. This is the natural micarta version. It comes with natural or OD green liners. We've also got some green micarta with yellow liners versions in stock at the moment. And they all come with this black leather sheath right here with the bright green thread. Simple pouch style sheath with a loop over on the back. Check them out while they're in stock. A couple more narrow knives in stock at the moment. These aren't handmade in the same way the LT Wrights are. These are more of a production product, but it's the Exodus series from White River Knife and Tool and Jacob Peterson. I've been looking forward to seeing these because we've had some in before, but they kind of went out of stock before I could even get my hands on them. So I haven't seen any of these for a number of years at this point. I was able to see one of the prototypes earlier on, but at least for right now, we've got some more in stock. We've got the 3 right here. Both of these come with burlap micarta handles, 3.15 inch blade, S35 VN steel with this really heavy stone washing going on. I think it's got even a bit of, what's the word? You don't know, do you?
I like watching them squirm.
It's kind of like the Hinderer's working finish. It's got almost like an etched and tumbled look to it. Pretty cool though. 140 bucks, very nimble. This is kind of a small wedgy shiv right here. Good for just smaller everyday cuts. The sheath on both of these knives is Kydex. Nice click, as you can see. You've got a pull the dot snap on a horizontal belt loop attached right here. But if you prefer other things, you do have rivets and slots. So again, pretty much any aftermarket sheath attachment system or belt attachment system should be able to be rigged up, no problem. The Exodus 4 comes in about 3.8 inches or thereabout, almost 3.9 actually. And these are about 175. Same kind of specs essentially, apart from the size difference. S35 VN steel, same heavy stone washed finish, same steel thickness here, which is about 1/8 of an inch, I'd say. Let's check the spec sheet. 0.13, yeah, just over 1/8 of an inch. But because the Exodus 4 is such a wider blade, by comparison to the Exodus 3, it's not a super wide blade compared to other things certainly, but the Exodus 4 might have a little bit better slicing geometry for most things. A little bit more of a dropped point as opposed to a straight back profile of the 3. A little bit more flare to the back of the handle here. The burlap feels great. Really liking this 4, honestly. That's just me. But let me know which one you prefer down in the comments, of course. They're made by White River, which I don't always get to show new White River stuff these days because they don't release a lot of new stuff, at least compared to the pace of other companies. They do fantastic work. Always do fantastic work. And I've got one more to show you today. This is part of their Firecraft series. This is the PKO, which, as you could probably guess from the shape of this knife, is short for Puko. This knife comes in just under 200 bucks. You've got a 3.7-inch blade, S35 VN, and a Scandi grind. As far as I know, this is the only Scandi grind in White River's regular lineup ever, I think. I can't remember any others that existed before this. Someone, of course, is gonna chime in the comments of something that they did used to do, and as soon as they say it, I will be like, oh yeah, of course, I remember that. Right here at the table anyway, I can't remember.
Getting ahead of the measured once, cut twice segment, huh?
Yeah, we're getting out in front of that one. Micarta handles, green with orange G10 liners, bolted on. Ring on the end, interestingly, which the handle's comfortable. I kind of wish they just gave a full handle there, but I tend to grip and manipulate a lot with my pinky when I'm cutting. So it's missing a little bit for something like that, but it is a cool look. And it still feels good, the rest of the handle. Like, you could definitely carve for a while with this without feeling too fatigued, I think, judging just by the grip here on the table. Of course, the Scandi grind is great for that woodworking stuff, so that's appropriate. Being part of the Firecraft series, there are a few details, both on the knife and the sheath, that aid in fire making. Start with the sheath. It's Kydex. You've got a Kydex belt loop here on the back, and a Kydex loop for Jan fire steel right there as well. It's just kind of a sprung Kydex circle, essentially, just a little bit smaller in diameter than the fire steel so that you can kind of push it out when the fire steel goes in. To strike that fire steel, you've got a little hemispherical cutout in the spine of the blade right here that is left crisp for striking. And the last thing in the fire making portion of it, once you throw the knife in the sheath, and only once you've thrown the knife in the sheath, you can use the handle section here with this metal dish as a bow drill divot for your friction fires, which is something all the Firecraft series knives with attached handles do come with. Really cool. I love the shape. It's simple yet graceful. And hey, we have another fixed blade to talk about. I'm so happy about this.
I can't tell.
I'm so happy. The Bradford G-Cleaver, clipped cleaver shaped neck knife right here. 100 bucks for this. You've got Elmax steel, just about a 3-inch blade with almost a straight razor front end with the clipped off section there. This thing is small, but it's a bit of a tank. Check out that blade thickness right there. I mean, what are we dealing with? Is that like 3/8 of an inch thick? Well, our spec sheet is wrong. We'll need to correct that. I keep finding mistakes here. We're dealing with 2.6 inches. So not quite as thick as I initially thought, but we're over a 1/4 inch thick on that. And that is to maintain a solid hold on the knife without any kind of scales or paracord wrap. And it also lets you just kind of bear down and chunk into this blade. But the blade itself is actually a little bit thinner. As you can see, follow the plunge line up, and the spine is not as thick at the base, and you've got the distal taper as you get towards the tip. So the geometry as you get closer there, it's probably not super different because you do have a drop to the spine, but it is getting a little bit thinner. See, right here at the back edge, 0.16. So a whole 0.1 of an inch further in when you get to the cutting part. I like this. This is just cool, man. American made, Elmax steel. The Elmax steel is not American made, but the knife is made in America. You have a Kydex sheath for neck carry. You've got holes spaced out widely on the side that the paracord or whatever cord you choose will be looped through, so it's less likely to twist around on you. It will always orient properly. And I haven't checked the hole spacing, but it looks like they've intentionally made them TechLock compatible. Let's check. Indeed, large TechLock will work no problem. And let's check out a small TechLock right here, live in real time. I have one over here, I swear. A lot of sheaths are sitting over here. See, I always keep the sheaths for the fixed blades at the table next to me right here, but there's a lot of fixed blades on the table today, so it's more crowded than usual. Yeah, small TechLock will fit down there, no problem as well. Great little neck knife, great little just everyday utility blade that should honestly be able to stand up to a bit more abuse than a small knife like that should be able to. Next up, a couple case knives. We have more than a couple new case knives, but a couple new handle materials right here. I've got a mini trapper and a regular trapper, Persimmon orange bone on the mini here, and on the larger version, this is a green curly oak, which looks really cool. Check out, there's the Persimmon orange. You've got two blade shapes, as is typical on most trappers. You've got your long muskrat style clip point and your long spay blade. Price on this knife is 56 bucks. Getting back into the more affordable range here versus a lot of the knives we've looked at today, although I take that back. A lot of the knives here haven't been inexpensive, but I think a lot of these have actually represented pretty good value. This one still also offers very good value. You can see there the action on that slip joint pattern is great. Each one with these bone covers is going to look a little bit different, of course. The full-sized trapper in the green curly oak comes in 74 bucks. Again, each piece is going to look a little bit different. They've got some kind of black pores going, this way, equatorially. What's that word?
Laterally.
Sure, we'll go with that. See it there on the back, really cool patterning. You get parts of the wood that didn't really take the green dye as much. That gives you a really cool swirl effect. Gotta love natural materials for stuff like this, for sure. Great, great little pattern. Great material. And like I said, more than just these two new ones. We've got several new knives in both of those handle covers. Check them out below. Next up, two more knives, two folders. Some more affordable stuff here. The QSP Lark. Prices on these start a little bit under 60 bucks, depending on handle material. This version right here with the red shred carbon fiber is on the higher end of the price range. It's like 65 bucks, so still very, very affordable. 14C 28N blade, great Sandvik steel, bit over 3 inches long, full flat ground drop point blade, folks. It's gonna do pretty much everything you want your everyday pocket knife to do. We've got a deep carry pocket clip. It is inset to the handles with flush mounted screws. All the details are right there, and it's reversible too. You've got 2 extra screws and the blockout plate on the other side to keep things nice and classy. Inset liner lock, ball bearings in the pivot. Man, the value here with all these features for the price is quite nice. 2 opening methods. You've got your conventional flipping action with just this subtle squared off tab, and you've got your front flipping action, which I did this before. And I can do that one. I'm more comfortable with this one than I am with the Anax there at the front. Great little shape, man. It's kind of simple, but kind of stripped away of all the unnecessary bits, but it's still got something kind of nice, got something special feeling about it. Haven't talked about this yet. Horizontally grained finish on the blade at this price point. I mean, come on, folks. That's value for sure. Take all those things together, most impressive. And one final QSP, this one is a bit more expensive. This is the Hornbill, and this one comes in about $158, just over that actually. A little bit of change. 3 1/4 inch blade, S35 VN. Very distinctive blade shape here. We'll go ahead and call it a drop point, but the spine has a lot of interesting stuff going on. The actual cutting edge is, all traditional drop point. I'm gonna hold it up here with the Pyrite. Actually, that's kind of cool. It's got about the same cutting edge of the Pyrite, in fact. That's kind of cool, but a lot more going on visually, as you can see. Several different handle and blade color versions are available. This is the golden carbon fiber. The blade is 3 1/4 inches, if I hadn't mentioned that before. You've got a liner lock, you've got ball bearings in the pivot, you've got 3 opening methods. You've got thumb studs, you've got a blade cutout, and you've got front flippy goodness, which I haven't tried this one yet. So let's see how this one goes. Okay. I gotta get a little wrist into that one, but it works. Milled pocket clip. There you go. You can see it on that side. Single position in this case. It's QSP. Everything's put together really nicely. It's got a very distinctive shape, very striking handles. Not a terrible price. Not the cheapest price we've looked at today, though, but very, very nicely put together. All right, that's all I've got to show you today. Let me know what you thought of the knives down in the comments. To get your hands on them, there's gonna be links in the description, of course, and don't forget about our blade show coverage coming right up. If you're thinking of picking up one of these knives, don't forget about our Knife Rewards program, because when you're buying one of these knives today, you'll get to earn some free money to spend on a future one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.